Marcus was 29, working as a project manager in Denver, and finally feeling like he had his financial life together. He had a 401k, a modest stock portfolio, and was shopping for his first home. Then the Federal Reserve announced another rate hike, and suddenly his mortgage quote jumped, his investment account dipped, and his coworker told him his bonds were losing value. Marcus had one question: what is actually going on? Today, we're going to answer that, step by step, with real data, so the next time the Fed makes a move, you'll know exactly what it means for your money.
Before we follow Marcus's money, let's establish who the Fed actually is. The Federal Reserve is the central bank of the United States. It doesn't hold your deposits or give you a mortgage, but it controls the federal funds rate, which is the interest rate banks charge each other for overnight loans. That rate is the foundation of almost every interest rate in the economy. When the Fed raises it, borrowing becomes more expensive everywhere, from your credit card to your car loan to Marcus's mortgage quote. The Fed raises rates primarily to fight inflation, slowing down spending and cooling the economy.
Here's the chart that made Marcus's jaw drop when his financial advisor showed it to him. This is the federal funds rate over the past decade. Notice how rates sat near zero for years after the 2008 financial crisis. That was the Fed's way of stimulating growth. Then look at what happened starting in 2022, the sharpest rate hiking cycle in 4 decades, with rates climbing from near zero to over 5% in just 18 months. Historically, these rapid moves ripple through every corner of the economy. That's not opinion. That's the pattern we see in Federal Reserve data going back decades.
This is where Marcus felt it first, and where most Americans feel it. When the Fed raises rates, banks immediately adjust what they charge borrowers. Mortgage rates, which track closely with the 10-year Treasury yield, can jump within weeks of a Fed announcement. Credit cards, most of which have variable rates, can reprice almost overnight. Marcus watched his mortgage quote go from 3.2% to 6.8% in under a year, which on a $350,000 home meant his monthly payment jumped by nearly $900. Auto loans, personal loans, and business lines of credit all followed the same pattern. Higher rates equals higher cost to borrow, full stop.
Let's put a real number on it. The same $350,000 mortgage at 3.2% costs about $1,512 per month. At 6.8%, that same loan costs roughly $2,280 per month, a difference of $892 every single month. Over 30 years, that's more than $320,000 in additional interest. This is the number that stopped Marcus cold. He had been watching the Fed news as background noise, something for economists to care about. But $892 a month isn't background noise. It's a real shift in what he could afford. And this is why understanding Fed policy isn't just for Wall Street. It's for anyone with debt or planning to take on debt.
Marcus also noticed his investment portfolio dipping. Here's why. When interest rates rise, future corporate earnings are worth less today because investors use a higher discount rate to value them. Think of it like this. If you can earn 5% risk-free in a treasury bond, you need a much better reason to take stock market risk. Growth stocks, tech companies, startups, anything valued on future profits get hit hardest. This is exactly what happened in 2022 when the Nasdaq dropped over 30%. Value stocks and dividend payers tend to hold up better. This is for educational purposes only, but understanding this dynamic helps you know why your portfolio moves when the Fed speaks.
Let's look at the historical relationship between rate hikes and stock market performance. This chart overlays S&P 500 returns with major Fed rate hiking periods. The pattern is nuanced. Markets don't always crash when rates rise. In fact, the S&P 500 has historically posted positive returns more often than not during hiking cycles, because rate hikes often coincide with a strong economy. The pain comes when hikes happen too fast or overshoot, like 2022. The data suggests that short-term volatility is common, but long-term investors who stayed the course through prior hiking cycles generally came out ahead. Past performance, of course, does not guarantee future results.
Here's the piece that confused Marcus most, and confuses a lot of investors.
When interest rates rise, existing bond prices fall. Why? Because if you're holding a bond paying 2% interest and new bonds are now paying 5%, nobody wants your old bond unless you sell it at a discount. The relationship is inverse. Rates up, bond prices down. Longer-term bonds, like 30-year treasuries, are most sensitive to this. Shorter-term bonds, 1 to 2-year treasuries, are far more stable. This is why many advisors suggest shifting toward shorter duration bonds when rates are rising. Always consult a financial advisor about your specific situation before making changes to your portfolio. Here's where the story shifts, and Marcus actually smiled for the first time. Rising rates aren't all bad. For savers, higher rates are a genuine opportunity. High-yield savings accounts, available from online banks, climbed from paying 0.5% annually to over 4.5% during this hiking cycle. A $20,000 emergency fund that earned $100 a year at 0.5% suddenly earned $900 at 4.5%. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, let you lock in those higher rates for months or years. Money market funds also became competitive. Marcus moved his emergency fund to a high-yield account and started earning meaningful interest for the first time in his adult life. Savers waited a long time for this.
Let's look at how savings rates have compared to inflation over the past few years. This chart tells a critical story. During the low-rate era, savings account yields were essentially zero. Your money was losing purchasing power to inflation every year. Then, as the Fed hiked rates, high-yield savings accounts finally started to outpace inflation in some periods. For Marcus, this meant his emergency fund was actually preserving and in some months growing his real purchasing power. The data here comes from Federal Reserve and CPI sources. The lesson: rate hikes hurt borrowers, but they're a meaningful gift to disciplined savers.
Marcus was also watching the housing market. Rate hikes create a complex dynamic in real estate. Higher mortgage rates squeeze affordability, reducing how much homebuyers can afford. In many markets, this slowed price growth or caused modest corrections. But here's the twist. Millions of existing homeowners locked in 2–3% mortgages and refused to sell, creating a supply crunch that kept prices elevated even as demand fell. This rate lock-in effect was unique to this cycle. Meanwhile, people priced out of buying often stayed renters longer, pushing up rental demand and prices. For Marcus, it meant waiting, but also that sitting tight wasn't necessarily wrong.
Marcus didn't panic. He didn't sell his portfolio. Instead, he moved his emergency fund to a high-yield savings account, kept contributing to his 401k through the volatility, and decided to wait on the home purchase until he had a clearer picture. That's not a perfect strategy. It's an informed one, and that's the goal. When the Fed raises rates, it's not random chaos. It follows a logic you can understand and prepare for. Borrowing gets more expensive. Stocks face headwinds. Bonds dip, but new ones pay more. Savers win. Real estate cools. Know the pattern, and you stop reacting out of fear. Consider speaking with a financial advisor about how rate changes affect your specific situation.
Everything you've seen today is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. The data referenced comes from Federal Reserve, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and historical market sources. Always consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment or borrowing decisions. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and all investment